Special guest today is Menzi. He has found his passion for fashion at a very young age. At the tender age of 17, on a trip to India, he was inspired to start his own measure to suit line, and it's called Afrocentric Gentleman, which redefines the view of a modern African masculinity. Now, his breathtaking elegance and poise are just some of the reasons why we stand for him. Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to give us a round of applause, claim you too, for Menzi. Hi, Menzi, how are you? Now, I've been dying for some of the viewers who don't know to have you on the couch because I've bumped into you in some of the Cape Town social circles and you are always looking incredible.
Thank you.
I mean, I feel like you must feel the pressure, but I feel like you also come from a home and a family that celebrates fashion and looking good.
Well, like, just growing up, like, I know we were that family at, like, Sunday church. There was lots of emphasis on, like, the way we looked and, like, there was that pressure, right? Sunday best, dressing up. And I think that, like, further on in my life impacted the way I looked at fashion. And, you know, like, I know my uncle has a few stores and, like, he would always bring me back, like, designer pieces. And back then, I didn't know what was happening, right? I was quite young, but that was kind of shaping the way I thought of fashion and everything.
And you kind of have to roll with it, especially if family push you into it. It's part of your fibre, it's part of your blood. I mean, coming up to Christmas, I'm sure you guys had the tradition of, you know, your Christmas best.
Definitely. All white all the time, you know. You have to look the part.
I love the all-white theme. Okay, but I want to take you back to your high school days.
Yeah.
High school, I believe you were the most dapper man on campus.
So I went as far as getting my uniform, like, custom-made, tailored all to me, and that got me in a lot of trouble at school because
no,
they were
you
like,
didn't.
You know, yeah, and they were kind of like, what's wrong with you? Like, you can't do this. Like, you have to look like everyone else. And I did a lot of detentions because of that, because I wanted to look a certain way. And, like, I just kept going because I had this thing that I have to look good, right?
Yeah. So was it like matric dance time? You were the kind of guy to hand out, call me.
Yeah.
I got your tailor-made suits.
So I actually started my business in grade 11, and then by grade 12, I sold like matric dance suits to a lot of my peers, and I made them look good, and that's where I started my whole brand.
Wow, okay, so you've had this amazingly magical trip when you were 17.
Yeah.
And that urged you to start this menswear line.
Yeah.
What's the line all about? And talk to me about that trip to India.
So on the trip, I'll start with the trip. Obviously, I was 17 and I was into dressing up, but then I could never get my size in South Africa. It was all retail. But in India, they have this culture of making, right? And they produce a lot of their own textiles, and tailoring is huge there. And I remember just being in India and being exposed to the culture of, like, you'd walk in and there'd just be fabrics. And instead of just, like, clothing hanging off the things, they were like, what do you want to be made? And I was like, wow, snap, like, I can make anything. And then I thought, like, this is not in South Africa. Like, I'd really love to bring this concept to South Africa at the time.
Bring it home.
And I was like, yeah, because my proportions were a bit awkward at the time. I was still going through puberty. And I was like, oh, I couldn't really make a suit to fit me the way I wanted it to fit. And I could play around with all the details. And I did that. And, like, I went with it. I learned a lot about production and tailoring along the way. And obviously made mistakes, learned there and there, and developed to what it is today. And I grew up in, like, the Tumblr generation, and through the Tumblr generation, we were kind of, like, exposed to, like, the art comes first of this world. The black dandies of, like, in New York and London, they had
That's actually what I wanted to ask you about, because I feel like, yes, you come through a whole generation of this Tumblr generation, but you kind of dabbled in what the past trends were. And dandyism is one of them.
Yeah, so through this Tumblr generation, I was exposed to what dandyism is, and a lot of people...
Okay, wait, what is dandyism for some of our viewers at home?
Yeah, so there's two definitions of dandyism, right? So then there's just dandyism, and then there's, like, Afro-dandyism, black dandyism. And dandyism, in essence, is kind of like striving for elegance in all forms of living. So a dandy is someone who will be at the best venues, dressed to the T all the time, with the best people, always, you know, in the best places.
Yeah.
And then Afro-dandyism, I think, takes it a step further, because kind of the Afro-dandy movement was the redefinition of black masculinity, because, you know, like, black masculinity traditionally was viewed as, from like a Western gaze, as, like, violent, and there was a lot of negative, like, hyper-masculine.
Yeah, connotations.
This is changing the connotations and changing what it is, and showing the world that, you know what, you can be refined, and, like, the high life and still, you know, be a black masculine man.
Yeah, but what is black masculinity right now? Because as you said, back in the day, it had a different form, it looked different, people celebrated it differently. But now in 2018, we see a lot more men embracing kind of being not feminine, but caring about how they look, how they smell, how they put themselves together. It's no longer just like a boys' club.
Yeah. I think that's great because I think we had a huge turning point with our society in terms of what black masculinity is, and like it's really important to destabilize patriarchy now. You know, you really have to think, and it's important to be critical of your society and your surroundings. And I've seen people starting to question what's going on around them. You know, we have a huge femicide happening in South Africa, and we're starting to really like get to the important conversations around that, and we're really changing. And on the grooming end, you know, you're becoming more comfortable being a man the way you want to be a man. And I think that's important. Like, you can groom, you can look good, you can look after your skin, you know. And I think in essence, that really does go and help with destabilizing patriarchy, because like what is a man is now a huge spectrum. And you can be masculine in different ways, because I feel like I'm very masculine, but I don't have to be this, you know. Yeah,
it completely looks different. It's taken a different form. Indeed. I agree. Yeah. And you've taken everything that you've rolled with and you've picked up along the years, and you created Afrocentric Gentlemen. Talk to me about your business.
So my whole business was about this and this redefinition. And I was like, I'm an African man, but I'm also a man of the world and a global citizen. And I wanted to create a brand that kind of embraced this individual, right? This individual who's able to say the right things, be in the right places and know the right people, but also be a man of the world and entrenched in his culture, like still be very involved in African culture and be this internationalist. And I constructed my brand through that, and I thought suiting was the best way to do this. So I kind of placed my brand as not just a clothing brand, but more of a lifestyle brand, right? So you're buying into a certain lifestyle, a certain luxury lifestyle. And I also embrace, like, you know, like African luxury. Like Africa can also be luxurious.
But I feel like people have bought into you in such a major way, especially on social media. I've seen you've got such a huge following. People are embracing everything you do. And now your clique, you guys are squad goals, basically. You come through dripping. Your suitable Sundays, hashtag suitable Sundays. You guys looking absolutely amazing. But how did you use then social media to leverage and make money from?
So it all starts with, like, I think it's really important to start off with passion, right? I never thought when I first started Instagram, it was just literally I liked creating beautiful visuals. Yeah. And I had this brand and I wanted to showcase my brand, and like I just wanted to showcase what I was doing and create beautiful visuals. And through that, I started realizing the world was changing very rapidly at the same time. And I started with brand partnerships that were kind of essential and aligned with my brand, and they had the same philosophies. And through that, I was able to, like, obviously through paid posts and partnerships, you're able to monetize this brand, and it's been really great. Like, and I just think it's important to be organic and authentic, and I'm very particular about the brands I work with. Yeah. And that's been the journey.
Yeah, I think it's very important not to force things and to be you, but you're doing you so effortlessly and so elegantly. I'm very excited to find out from you a little later on in the show is that what are your tips and tricks for the season? I mean, it's this festive season and we all want to look our best. But thank you so much for coming through to The Loft.
Thank you.
Now, straight after the break, we head into the kitchen as we prepare the most decadent multi-millionaire shortbread bar. And then we chat to animal behaviorist Karen Pepper about the activities that you can do with your fur babies this festive season. And then we put the cherry on the top and you stand a chance to win a really awesome prize just by calling in on 021 430 9881. But later on in the show, only when we say lines are open. See you after the break.